The Georgia Traverse was supposed to be an easy trip with good friends. I'd done the same route last year at about the same time, and it was one of the best overlanding trips I've ever done. So when the chance came up to do the Georgia Traverse again with the Overland Dads, my friends from way down in Miami, I jumped on the opportunity to share what I thought would be an easy but amazing trip with my wife, who had not been able to come last year. Little did I know that we got away easy last time, and now the Georgia Traverse would be out for revenge. The trouble actually started the day before the trip, when Asia from Baptism Overland had to cancel because of a family emergency. But we did get another worthy addition in Will from Defiant Offroad. In all, we had 7 rigs on this trip. We met up around the Dalton, Georgia area and got on the trail with the intent to get to camp quickly and let everyone chill and rest. We decided to make this run over Memorial Day weekend, thinking the long weekend would give us time to complete the trip. The Overland Dads came up from Miami, which means Friday and Monday were both going to be travel days for them, as they were going to have at least a 10-hour drive home. What we failed to consider was how many people would be out on the trail that weekend, and how challenging it would be finding a campsite for all of us. At this point, all of the campsites that we knew about and had found were packed full, and we were on the hunt to find something more suitable for all of us. We split up, and Jessica and I took this offshoot in hopes of finding a good place. I'm still making my way to the back of this trail. I've been told there's nothing up here, but I'm checking it anyway. Unfortunately, a large downed tree was blocking the trail, and while I did have a chainsaw, I decided that the effort to clear it at this point in the evening with no promise of a spot on the other side wasn't worth it. As the sky turned into golden embers, we got a tip from a local park ranger about a possible paid spot that still had room. So with Jessica at the wheel, we drove into the night down the trail, tired and ready for a break.
They painted up your secrets with the lies they told to you, and the least they ever gave you was the most you ever knew. And I wonder where these dreams go when the world gets in your way. What's the point in all this screaming? No one's listening anyway.
Luckily, our intel was good and we were able to snag a spot that fit us all. It was late and we were all hungry and tired, so we set up quickly, made dinner, and Jessica and I sat around the fire getting to know our new friend Will. Unfortunately, this was the literal calm before the storm.
So we're huddled under the Outland Motorworks 270-degree awning because the storm has arrived, and we're just sort of hanging out waiting for it to pass. But the awning is great. It's been keeping us pretty dry. The rain's coming down pretty hard. There's thunder and lightning, and we're just kind of chilling under here until it passes.
The storm bore down on us with rain, thunder, and lightning, and even some hail for a few hours, but eventually it let up and we were back on the trail.
Hey, what do you say? This whole town could be red by the end of the day. If you feel alright, we could throw it in drive. With the radio up so loud they can hear us from miles. Me and you, nothing to do. These days they come and go. Me and you, nothing to lose.
The rain had stopped, the sun was out, and we were feeling good and putting miles behind us. Until we weren't.
So Will's been hearing like a clanking or a banging, some sort of noise coming from underneath the Jeep. And so he's under there right now trying to figure out what it is, but it's currently stumping us as to what it could be, but it's getting progressively worse as we go down the trail. So we're trying to figure this out before something major happens. Well, the good news is we managed to figure out what it is. The bad news is he's now missing a bolt, and we're trying to figure out what we can do to sort of make a makeshift bolt until we can get into town and get him something to work.
Mariano and the other guys jumped right in and managed to get a solution figured out pretty quickly. And while it was only a temporary fix, it would get us back on the road and into town. Alright, so we got Will's Jeep temporarily fixed with a new bolt that we found, but it's obviously not the right bolt. And the other problem is we're now sort of running into a time crunch of where we wanted to be by the end of the day today, that we can get to Charlie's Creek by the end of this trip, because really Charlie's Creek is the big payoff. And now we really need to make up some miles, but we can't go really fast with sort of the temporary fix that we've got on Will's Jeep until we get into town and we get a proper bolt in there, and then we can kind of try to make up some time. But we are definitely on the struggle bus in terms of time, I think, and we got some miles to make up. After heading into town to get a bolt for Will, we got back on the trail at the iconic Shallowford Bridge crossing. Due to the size and age of the bridge, we had to cross one at a time. Once we were all across, it was time to get back on dirt and make up some miles and find camp for the night. Something that was much easier said than done.
Watch yourselves on this right-hand side with this tree. So we are on the hunt for a campsite, and unfortunately the section that we're on isn't super prevalent with campsites, and so we've found a little trail that we're hoping might lead up to a campsite. We're pretty sure it's the one I actually took last time I did the Georgia Traverse. What I'm not sure is what the trail condition is for everyone else, and if there's actually enough room at the top for all of us. And so Jessica and I are going to scout that trail real quick with Dario, but Jessica's going to drive it, which is going to be quite interesting for her, I think. And it was no sooner that we got on this trail that we ran into issues. I'm having a hard time making that.
Noise?
Can you back up at all? I don't know that you can. All right, stop, stop, stop. You're gonna wanna straighten out, and then as soon as you get to about where I am, you're gonna go hard passenger. Go straight, no, go straight first. Hard. Do you have lockers? Do you have your rear lockers? Put your rear lockers on. There you go. There you go.
Now it was Jessica's turn.
You made that look easy.
It was easy.
But we weren't out of the woods yet. The first time I did this trail, my Jeep was still stock and I was pulling a trailer. And while I got up it, it was definitely one of the harder, more challenging areas of the traverse. This time with the new lift and no trailer, we didn't have any issues from a technical standpoint. But it was still Jessica's first time driving a more technical section, and as this trail began to close in around us, navigating the tight spaces without damaging the awning or the Jeep became a bigger challenge.
Whoa. Scooch over to driver a little bit.
Fortunately, we were able to navigate around the trees and the larger branches, and our new 4x4 Attitude action shields kept the sides of the Jeep protected from pinstriping.
This is definitely the most challenging thing you've ever done, isn't it? In the Jeep.
Ooh, cool.
Wow.
So I got a Rubico 2023, and this guy came up here with this, with the Southlander. Unbelievable.
And the
That's-
trailer.
And pulling the trailer, the tiny campers. Unbelievable. Wow. I'm impressed.
We got a little hitchhiker going on here. Well, that was a bust. Well, there's definitely a campsite up there. It is really overgrown. The trail's pretty gnarly. We just don't feel good about trying to get everybody up the trail, and there's just not enough room for everybody once we're at the top. So that is a bust. But hopefully the other guys have found something. So we'll meet back up on the trail with them and figure out our next steps. So the good news is the guys think they found something up ahead a little ways. So we've got half of our crew following us to try to meet up with them now. So hopefully we end up with a campsite that we can get to before it gets dark, because everyone's pretty tired and we're pretty ready to get camp set up and start making dinner.
And so the hunt continued. As day turned into dusk, we got word that one of the other groups had found a campsite. It was pretty far off the Traverse's main trail, but it would hold all of us.
if it sets you free. Believe in only you. Yesterday is gone. Forget about tomorrow and the ceilings you see right through.
All right, we made it into camp. We got dinner cooking. We're doing some chicken tonight with some veggies. Jessica did a great job driving today. I'm very proud of her. This was her first big real driving experience, and I think she did a great job. We've got all the other crew around here. Around here. There's Will. Hey, Will. What are you making?
Fusilini, number 48. With and Rosa Alfredo from the Bronx. Parmesan.
All right, we'll have to see how I did.
Delish.
That night, we ate dinner, laughed, and fellowshipped around the fire, not knowing that tonight would be our last night together at camp, or that tomorrow would be plagued with setbacks, disappointments, departures, and tough decisions. We woke up early to some of the most gorgeous views of our trip.
I'll put my light in a bottle, something to guide your way. Even if you're too scared to follow, there's a light in each new day. If the moon gives up rising, the sun stops it shining, you know.
Good morning. It is a beautiful day. Last night was great. We hung out by the campfire for a while. Jessica went to bed a little bit earlier than we did, but got up nice and early this morning, taking in sort of the morning sunrise. The weather's been fantastic most of the day yesterday except for the morning, and then today so far has been awesome. But the plan is to get up, get out early, try to get to Helen, Georgia, and then try to get as close to Charlie's Creek as we possibly can. It's going to be a big ask today to get all that done, but we're gonna do our best, and that's all we can really do at this point. So we're gonna get a breakfast and camp packed up and on the road as quick as we can. See what happens.
It really was a perfect morning, which would only make the events of the rest of the day more tragic.
If the moon gives up rising, the sun stops it shining, you know you'll have a hand to hold.
We were back on the trail and we were happy and excited to be heading towards Helen and then finish out our adventure at Charlie's Creek.
Together we find it, there's more than one way to go home.
Our trail took us down the mountain along scenic roads with just enough washout and rocks to make them fun, and winding streams that seemed to race us down the trail.
If the moon gives up rising, the sun stops it shining, you know you've got a hand to hold. As we wait on the timing, together we find it, there's more than one way to go home. Yeah, there's more than one way to go home.
We continued down the trail, blissfully unaware of the curveballs that lay just ahead. Nor did we realize that we would be the answer to someone else when they hit a curve of their own.
All right, so we were driving down the main part of the traverse here, and we came across a vehicle that ended up going off the road a little bit. And we are going to do our best to get him out quickly. So we've got some straps that we're going here. Will from Defiant Off-Road, he's going to be the main point on this one, and we're just going to try to help him out. You're clear? All right, stop. So how did that feel to you?
Well, you know, anything I can do to help the community, you know, that's what I do. I like to help people. That's why I got into the profession of jeeping. Yeah, no, it's fine. You see somebody stranded on the side of the road, you help them. That's what you do. And it's super simple. You just snatched them out. Didn't even need to use the winch.
All right, so Helen was kind of a bust. Traffic was really bad given that it was Memorial Day weekend and we had to do the recovery on the side of the road. That put us way behind schedule. So now what we are doing is we're bypassing another sort of section of the Georgia Traverse in order to get towards Charlie's Creek faster, because that's the big goal of this trip, is to get everybody through Charlie's Creek. So anyway, we're gonna do that, and then hopefully that gets us to where we can find a campsite tonight close enough to Charlie's Creek that we can do Charlie's Creek first thing in the morning, and then all these guys can head back towards their homes in Miami, and because they just got an incredibly long drive for them after that. So that's the current plan. Okay, so we have gotten fairly close to Charlie's Creek. The trouble is that on Gaia, what I have mapped and marked as Charlie's Creek is not Charlie's Creek. I don't know what it is, and I don't know why it's marked and mapped that way, but it's not Charlie's Creek. And at this point, we're not really sure where it is. I should know, I've done it twice. So I'm taking full blame and responsibility for this one, because I don't know why what I have is wrong, but it is. And so the solution now is we're backtracking a little bit back to a main road where we knew we had signal, so that we can try to do a little bit of research and figure out where the correct entrance to Charlie's Creek is. Now that said, it's also now 6 o'clock and starting to rain. So we're gonna figure out where the actual entrance is and then go find a campsite and do Charlie's Creek in the morning. So I'm really frustrated with myself. When we got to a point where we needed to bypass a bunch of stuff in order to get to where I thought Charlie's Creek was, we passed Charlie's Creek. And so now we're actually way past it, and we're gonna have to double back a whole bunch, which at this point in the evening is just not really feasible. I still don't really know why I had the wrong spot on my map marked as Charlie's Creek. So for whatever reason I did, and that's where I was aiming. And in bypassing some things trying to get to Charlie's Creek, we bypassed Charlie's Creek. The trouble is that some of these guys have a really long drive, and now they're feeling like they'd rather just hit the road and start heading back to Miami, which I totally get. I just feel really bad that because of this mistake, we wasted a bunch of the day, which meant they didn't get the opportunity to do the one thing that like was the big to-do list on this trip for them. And I'm taking it kind of like personal responsibility, and I'm just feeling kind of frustrated by that. All right, so what is typical of this trip is we have called another audible. So we are now in Clayton. because we're going to have a nice dinner with all of the Overland Dads, lit Overland crew. Anyway, we're all going to have a really nice dinner together and say goodbye, because they are all going to head back to Florida tonight, because they've discovered it's essentially like a 15 to 16 hour drive home for them, and doing all of that tomorrow is basically impossible, and so there's no chance of doing Charlie's Creek for them. So they're going to bail tonight and start heading south after dinner. So this is sort of our final hangout, get together, and then Will and I are going to game plan and figure out what we're going to do tonight. But there is a line of really nasty storms coming. So this is not where I wanted to be. I don't want to be here. But this is where we've ended up. We decided that it was just going to be a real challenge with where we were and everything to find a campsite tonight, given Memorial Day weekend and all these things. But on top of that, because we were in town and we had a signal, we decided to check the weather. And the weather does not look good. So starting tonight around 3 in the morning, we're supposed to get severe thunderstorms with damaging wind, heavy rains, possible flooding, and hail. And so we made the strategic decision to play it safe and not be in the woods given that kind of a weather scenario coming. And everything else, we decided we're going to get a hotel room. So we've gotten hotel rooms for the night. First thing in the morning, we are going to get up, and we've decided that we are going to finish the trail. So we are going to Charlie's Creek in the morning. We're going to finish that bit of the trail, and we're going to basically do it for the guys that couldn't do it. So that's the plan, and we're just going to hope that tomorrow's weather holds out and makes it at least a decent finish to what has turned out to be a trip that was not going at all as we had planned. Was it still a fun trip? Absolutely. Am I glad that we got to do it, hang out with everybody? Of course. I just feel awful that we ran into such a snafu today, because if I hadn't messed up where we were going, they could have gotten Charlie's Creek done today. They could have actually done it. We missed a lot of the Georgia Traverse. We skipped a lot of sections trying to get to Charlie's Creek on time. And because I had it marked incorrectly in Gaia, and I don't know why I had it marked that way. I don't know why it was incorrect, but I was absolutely certain I knew where it was, and I had it marked in Gaia, and it was wrong, and it totally messed us up. We ended up about an hour away from where we needed to be, and we were going to have to backtrack, and it was late, and the timing just wasn't going to work out. So I'm taking a lot of responsibility for what happened. Had we had more time, we could have made up for it. Had I not messed up the schedule or messed up the route, they would have been able to do it. And so I feel really bad that they came all this way and didn't get to finish Charlie's Creek. So we're going to do it in the morning for them. And we'll see you then. The storm came with a vengeance in the middle of the night. The rain, lightning, and howling wind outside were a constant reminder that we were glad to have been inside. The hotel, and what we would find out later, most of the town, lost power during the night, so we woke up to a scene that felt like something from The Walking Dead or The Shining. Back in the Jeeps, we got our first look at what kind of damage the storms brought with it, and we all agreed that while we didn't like it, making the call to stay in the hotel was the right move, and we were grateful to have not risked being out in it. Will and I both agreed that there was a decent likelihood a small tornado came through the area. Playing it safe isn't exactly the most exciting thing, but there was no reason to be risking our lives on a trip for no reason. In these conditions, even seemingly strong, healthy trees can come down, and if they come down on your tent, well, it's game over. But today was a new day, and even with the less than ideal weather, we were back on the trail and in high spirits. Of the 7 Jeeps that started this journey, only 2 remained, but Will, Jessica, and I were determined to finish it out. But we'd learned that the Traverse wasn't done with us yet. I've driven Charlie's Creek twice before, once in my YJ and once in my JKU when it was still stock. This time, I wanted Jessica to drive. She'd already driven the entire traverse, and I wanted to make sure she had a chance to finish it out with what many consider to be the best part of the trip. Charlie's Creek is a fun trail with easy obstacles, but it has some fun smaller stream crossings and a long but shallow and incredibly fun water crossing at the end. The storms last night made the trail wet and muddy, just how we like it, and also made some of the crossings a little deeper, all of which were a-okay with us. The rain had finally stopped. Jessica was doing an excellent job navigating the trail, and Will and I were finally starting to feel like all we'd been through to this point was going to pay off. Well, boys and girls, we have what looks to be a downed tree. Stop.
I had this intuition that we were going to need a chainsaw on this trip, so I went and I got a chainsaw just for this trip, and it looks like it's going to come in handy because the storms last night did in fact down a tree over the path, and we are clearly the first ones to go through this since the storm. So
And for the record, he did ask me if I had one.
I
said, "No, I
asked
don't have
ahead of time. No one had one, so it's like, well, let's make sure we have a chainsaw on this trip, and it's gonna be coming in handy. So let's bust this thing out. All right, that was my my first tree removal from the trail, and I'm super glad I bought the DeWalt.
With the tree removed, we headed down the trail again for what awaited us just around the corner. We got a big down tree here.
All right, so we didn't get very far down the trail, and there's another much larger tree now, and this one I think we're gonna have to think through a little bit more, because I don't think this one's gonna be quite as simple as the other one was. So after careful consideration, I think what we're gonna try to do is put some straps across the tree here and winch it so it comes down flat against the trail, and then see if we can get it off to the side, because that's just, with the way it is up there, that whole stump will fall as soon as we cut it, and it just becomes kind of dangerous. So if we can pull it down and get it onto the ground and then figure out how to get it off the trail or cut it there, that's gonna be a little bit safer. The chainsaw has run out of battery. We're out of battery. I'm charging the batteries. I am hot, I am sweaty, and I could really use something cold. And it just so happens that I am testing out this brand new Bouge RV Rocky 40, and it's set in freezer mode, and I have some ice cream. It's actually really good. Oh, no, that's not good.
Oh, that's like got the, I don't like that flavor at all. Oh, that was a bad choice. Oh, we're gonna pick some different ice cream. Got some Halo Top ice cream bars this time. Yeah, that's what we're going with. Okay, so ice cream on the trail is like a super nice bougie convenience. They'll admit, totally unnecessary, but when you've just spent like an hour trying to chainsaw a tree and you're stuck on the side of the trail waiting for batteries to charge, ice cream is pretty nice. After being on the side of the trail for over an hour and on our second cycle of waiting for batteries to charge, another rig pulled up behind us, and with him, another chainsaw. He made quick work of the rest of the tree, and we were able to get it pushed off the side of the road. And with that obstacle out of the way, there was only one thing left for us to do.
Alright, we just finished the water crossing at Charlie's Creek, which is obviously, I think, one of the biggest highlights of doing the Georgia Traverse. Will, what'd you think of the Traverse in that?
I thought it was pretty great. It was a long trail, obviously system of trails, but it had a very dynamic terrain. I mean, it went from what we're on right now, just simple gravel roads, to a little bit of rock crawling and some lumberjacking today. So that was, I thought that might happen, but you know, it ended up happening. I'm super glad I got invited on this trip. It was a great time. North Georgia is definitely an underrated destination for overlanding, and one that I admittedly have not spent enough time in.
Yeah, it was awesome having you on here, man.
Man.
I'm super glad we got to do this trip. Wish the other guys could have stuck around, but
Absolutely.
Tell them where they can find you online.
Head over to my channel, Defiant Offroad. Please subscribe to the channel there and check me out.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys, we finally finished Charlie's Creek, and that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you watching. What a crazy, crazy trip. So much happened. So much was unexpected. Nothing went as planned, but sometimes that's just how the journey goes. So here's to all the guys that were not able to cross Charlie's Creek with us. You were missed, but until next time, we'll see you on the trails.
It was good to meet you, and I hope to see you again.
Yeah.
So we'll have to plan the next trip.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question.
We're hanging out under the awning, and the wind is just blowing. We're like, woo, we're getting wet. It's because it's coming in sideways now.
The official drink of Overland Dads.
So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a
And cut.
What's going on? How you guys doing?
I'm gonna start giving you cups of water, so when you come by, I got you.
Thanks.
On this road of life, sometimes the curves take you to places you never expect. I can't help but think that some of those storms brought silver linings we'll never truly understand. The disappointment and setback may have in fact helped keep us safe from being out in the middle of the night during those dangerous storms. And they perhaps put people in the right place at the right time to help strangers on the side of the road. We all became a little bit stronger, better, and closer than we were before. So like the song says, make the best of these tests and don't ask why.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life.